Hello and welcome to episode 4, Paper Tuesdays with Michael Dwyer and Mark Halpin. Michael, would you like to introduce our guest today?
We're going backwards, but we're going forwards with Aoife. Aoife's going to show us the way. Aoife Parle, how are you keeping, Aoife?
How are you guys? Thanks for having me on.
This is.
I feel like a celebrity now. I'm on this.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
This is it.
Yeah, we're getting. Well, I'm getting a big head from all this. I mean, we had Ger Lacey talk to us last week. Now, we're being told we're celebrities by Aoife. Like, it's just one thing leading to another, isn't it?
It is, yeah. What's
if Ger's calling you, you've made it now.
Yeah.
If Ger has heard of you, you've made it. Celebrity Ger.
Yeah. Aoife, we both heard you on Blue Zone Pod with Cormac, previous guest of the show, and it was great. Really enjoyed it. It was such an honest and open conversation. It must have taken a bit of guts to, settle the nerves and have that conversation about your transformation.
Yeah, I think if I was asked, say, 3 months into my journey, I probably wouldn't have been able to talk about it. But I feel like I've crossed a line now where I know I'm not going to go back there. And I'm in the headspace that, look, I listened to a load of podcasts when I started walking and started moving, and like so many people inspired me. And it might have been just one sentence that resonated with me. So I thought, look, if I can say something that will help someone, then I'm going to do it. Because if I can make someone feel as good as I feel right now, then I want them to know, that, obviously, I don't know, maybe your listeners haven't heard Cormac's podcast, but I started out at 31.5 stone. So, when you're that weight, you don't see a way out, and so I just wanted people to know, there is a way out, there is help out there, just get the proper help, So Cormac was that for me, some people might be slimming clubs, it might be loads of different types of things, but for me, I needed someone that was professional that could teach me about nutrition more so than anything. That was my downfall.
In those early days, you gave a great example of listening to a podcast with Trisha and Brian Keane, and that you've since met Trisha, and you seem to have developed a bit of a bond. Like, what was it about Trisha that resonated with you?
I think it's because when she did the podcast with Brian Keane, she told a lot of stories about the way she felt before her journey and kind of funny things, and that resonated with me. That I kind of laughed at. Like she said, she'd go order something and pretend it was for 3 or 4 people. Like I used to go to Doyle's to get a chicken roll, and I used to say, "Yeah, I'll have butter on mine, but he won't on his." But they were both for me. But I was just taught the lady behind the counter will think I'm not as bad if it looks like I'm getting it for 2 people and not just myself. Like you think you're codding people, but you're wearing your weight, so you're not hiding anything, But it was just about embarrassment of eating in front of people, and some of the things she said, I thought, oh my God, I've never heard anyone be that honest before. Because usually when you see journeys, you only see the before and after pictures. You don't really get to the nitty-gritty of the story. And for me, a lot of things she said obviously hit home. And I think those are the people that inspire me, and the people that I get messages off on my Instagram saying, look, I went out for a walk because I heard your podcast, or you put something up in your story, and it inspired me, and I could be having a really crap day, and they're the people that inspire me. Just a small message can inspire me so much. It doesn't have to be a big celebrity or some big diet or anything you see on the telly. It's just good, honest people telling me that I'm helping them. Like yourself, Mark. I came off Facebook when I started my journey because obviously with the pandemic and that, I would have been very anxious looking at some of the posts and things like that. So for me on Instagram is easy because I can just follow people I want to follow, and I see you with your posts, and I always see Matthew, from Pace 14 and Cormac. There's no bullshit in what you're putting up. You're not telling people, you'll never have a takeaway again, you'll never be able to have a drink again. It's just honest, and I think that the fitness industry is gone more that way because people just expect honesty. You just want people to be real with them, So anything like that now, anything that's real, or anyone on a journey who has been through it, anything at all. I just love soaking up information. I just think once I educated myself on nutrition, then that for me was the biggest thing,
Yeah, but like, thanks for the compliment on my page, but yours is a great one for me to follow. I think what you display is sort of the everyday of it. Like, you're not saying, oh, I went and climbed this mountain today and then I ate a salad or whatever. You're like, here's what I had today for breakfast. Here's how many calories it was. Here's what I'm trying to hit. Here's what I'm trying to do every day, in and out. And then people relate to that more so, because people can't relate to the people who only eat fucking rabbit food and who like do yoga 6 times a day.
100%.
So like when they see you, it's like, oh, thank God somebody is doing the same thing as me and getting results. So now I feel better about it, and it's very humbling, and it really is. It's refreshing, is what it is. I think more so than anything else.
Yeah, I think as well, like, people often say to me, God, how are you motivated all the time? But for me, motivation is what made me start.
Yeah.
It's consistency that keeps me going. I'm not motivated every day. Like, some days I wake up, like this morning I woke up and I'm like, I'm going to do a big walk today. I'm going to get all my food right. And I'm really, really, up for it. Like, yesterday morning I woke up and I wanted a box of Lindor for my breakfast.
Mm.
It comes and goes. Like, it's not all, people think losing weight is just like static, but it's not. Like, it goes everywhere. Like, you can be up 1 minute, down the next. Like, I put up £6 in January. That's an exclusive for you lads. And but I lost £5 this week.
Wow.
Like, before I would have given up, because I would have thought, oh my God, £6, sure, like, I'm gone now. Whereas now I know that's just water weight.
Yeah.
It could be I'm due my time of the month. There's a whole, I could have had too much salt in my diet the night before. Like, there's a whole host of reasons why you might be up that day. Like, and I think that's why people need to educate themselves.
Yeah.
Because then they'll know. Like, for me, like, going to Slimming Club being up £2, I'd be like, oh, I'm giving up. Whereas, like, if I was up £2, like Cormac would, like, it could be your carbohydrates you had the day before. There's a whole host of things, like, that it could be. That's why I'm such an advocate for, educating yourself on it.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
There's something you mentioned there about and what Mark credited you with the social media. So what strikes me there is the accountability. Some days you would put up to say, I'm just not feeling it today. I haven't walked, or I couldn't, had an awful headache and I had to just go walk. And is it hard sometimes to be so open in that regard?
I have to say no, because I think people appreciate if I'm honest, because, as I said, like, they're not going to feel it every day. Mark, you're a personal trainer. Like, people probably look at you and think, oh my God, he's so fit, he must eat this, he must do this. Like, but, like, I know you probably don't feel it every single day. You couldn't. Like, you'd be inhuman if you felt, that your diet's going to be perfect every day. It just doesn't work like that. So it doesn't harm me to put up being honest, because I think if I was looking at someone's page and they were honest, I could connect with them more. I'd feel more normal myself, and I'd be like, look, they're not on it every day, look, and they're still doing well. Like, I can do it as well. So I think it's just important. Like, my friend Colette, as you know, Michael, she was the one who came up with my name for Instagram, because we had a chat one day about, I just said, look, I always want to be honest. I always want to be, like, transparent. I just want to help people, because I know how it feels, especially when I was that way. Like, you would see me, I'd be doing loads of things in the community. I'd be always laughing and smiling, but, like, it's not a true reflection when you go home at nighttime how you feel. Like, so, like, you might see someone, like, out and you're like, oh God, they're always in great form, they're always right crack, they have no troubles, but we don't know what's going on in people's heads. And that, for me, it's so important. Like, if I'm looking at someone else on Instagram, I don't judge their journey. Like I said, some things work for some people, they mightn't work for me, and that's fine, because everybody's different. And I just think when you start judging people, like, so, like, some of the comments, like, you get are like gas from people, like, are you supposed to be having that? Are you not on a diet? And you're like, I am on a diet, like, but I can have croutons in my Caesar salad if I want. I can have an iceberg if I want. But I think it's conditioned in a lot of people, like, bad and good food. And that doesn't exist. Like, no food should be bad. All food is good once you have it in moderation.
This is a hot topic with your discussion with Cormac as well, and I'm sure this is something that's come up, and you've said, the need for education when it comes to nutrition. this is probably something that we're still probably learning. I know you could go to a professional and try and get nutritional advice, but for the everyday stuff, it's a rule of thumb you had was before, if it stick to natural sources of food can be a positive approach to it. Is there anything, Mark, that strikes you about that? About the need for new education when it comes to nutrition?
Oh, well, education is everything. It's to lead the person to water, or was it to teach a man to fish instead of giving him a fish and then he'll feed every day for his life or whatever. I completely butchered that phrase, but like education is everything. It's learning and building, and to think a lot of things I think people slip up on as well is it has to be perfect, and if it's not perfect, it's fucked. And like it's the same with anything. To start anything, you're going to start it badly, no matter what it is. Could be learning an instrument, could be fixing your diet, could be exercising. You're going to be bad at it at the start. If you accept you're going to be a fool at it at the start, and you're going to learn as you go along. Like you're going to have days where like you ate something you actually thought was healthy, or you thought like that had very low calories, but you're after eating like a bag of say Brazil nuts and they're high massive in calories or whatever. You're gone way over. Like, oh fuck no. Sure, that's it then. That's it done. It's like, no, I learned that, and now I'm still learning every day. Every day I learn more about like training, nutrition, stuff like that, and that is what keeps me interested in it. If I knew everything, I'd stop caring. I'd stop trying to get better at it. So that's why education I think is important.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I agree.
It's a tough one to strike. Like you probably have, you probably have found the nice balance in that you're able to recommend things that you've found in a supermarket that are healthy and taste good and go well with a cup of tea or whatever. So that probably is good. But otherwise, like you're kind of relying on maybe reading Fitness Pal well, or maybe having access to a nutritional expert, that type of thing. But is it true that type of referrals from friends and just that looks healthy? Is that how you develop a good diet, Aoife?
Yeah, like obviously, like I went to Blue Zone Nutrition Clinic, and I learned loads from that. But usually, like people say, how do you come up with ideas for your meals and this, that, and the other? But if I'm having a craving for a meal, like say I pick Katie Daly's and I'm like, God, I'd love carbonara right now. Like I'll pick a dish that I like, but I'll just make a healthy version.
Right.
And I think that kind of keeps me going, because it's not the same food every day. Like it's not just chicken and broccoli. There's so much more food out there. Like, and I think what you're referring to there with Mark, I'm not sure, is like I always go to the rule of thumb. Like most of the food I eat, it can't have a sell-by date more than 6 months, because that's just crap you're putting into your body. That's okay every once in a while, but usually like you're better off with like the fresh natural food. Like if it comes out of the ground, if it falls from a tree, those kind of things. Like if it has something past 6 months on the sell-by date, I usually avoid. Because it'll stay, like obviously if that can last 6 months, like I just don't want to put it into my body.
And obviously, Aoife, you've made massive strides in recent, from lockdown 1 and your doctor's that was the most recent one anyway. But like you also had, you had a willingness and you said motivation at the start, which you were with Connor for a while as well. So where do you see your journey or your transformation? Like, is it just to become a healthier person as a whole, or what's driving you on for as a whole now?
Well, I think it's in the first lockdown I got sick and I was diagnosed with diabetes. I think that for me was probably one of the biggest driving forces behind why I changed my diet, because I obviously know people that have suffered diabetes and they have crippling health conditions. I know people that have passed away due to complications of diabetes. So I think for a long time, I would have been overweight. I would have hated what I seen in the mirror and I look rotten, but it was never a massive health thing. So I think once a doctor confirmed that, like, look, what you're doing is making you so unhealthy, I kind of was like, look, Aoife, like, you don't want to live. Get busy. What's that thing? Get busy living or get busy dying? Is that what film is that out? It's a great, it's out some film anyway, but it's a great quote. And it's like, get busy living or get busy dying. And I wanted to live. Like, I think that's you know, because there was a point in my life where I would have went to bed and I said to Ian one night, like, I'd be happy enough not waking up in the morning, you know, which is not a good place to be, you know. So I think that, yes, mental health was a massive issue, but like when I was diagnosed with diabetes, that for me kind of really gave me the kick I needed. Like, and I think as well in the first lockdown, I got to slow down a good bit because I would be so busy and involved in things. I kind of got to have time to look after myself. I think that was a massive help, and there wasn't loads of distractions around. But I do find this lockdown now probably the worst, the hardest. Do you know? Definitely. And I know everyone's saying the same. So that for me, when people are honest on Instagram and they're saying they're finding the lockdown hard, is good, because there again, I don't feel alone. I know so many people feel the same. Like, but for me, like, the journey is like, I'm going to be doing this, I know, for the rest of my life. And I think that's probably the biggest thing that's helped me, is that I'm going to be doing it for the rest of my life. So I can't avoid foods I don't like. I can't never have a takeaway or never have a drink again, because I know it's going to be for the rest of my life. If I thought, like, you know, I'm going to lose weight in 2 years and then it'll be over, it won't be over. I'll always have an issue with weight and food. Like, I know I'm more educated and I'm a lot better to be able to handle it now. But I think that this is a lifestyle change. I would never say I'm on a diet, like, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And that's like I'm reading recently about sort of motivation and mindset stuff, and a lot of people reckon that not only should you have something to work towards, but also something to run from. And you have that, like, with your scare with the doctor, that's what you're working away from. But you obviously have a goal at the end you want to reach or whatever. But it's important to have that as well. Like, this is what I want to stay away from, and if I keep doing this thing, it'll keep me away from that. I think that's just as powerful as.
100. And then, like, obviously when I go to the doctors, like, I see like the massive changes in my blood and what it's doing for me physically, I think, which is a good thing too. Like, and then you have obviously little goals that you have, like, you know, I want to do a box jump, which is so simple for a lot of people. I couldn't do it, and that's something I achieved in the summer, and that was a massive thing for me. My next thing would be to do a pull-up. They're just little goals in the gym. As Cormac always says, like, you know, it's all about nutrition. Like, the gym complements your food because it's good for your mental health. It makes sure that what you're losing is actual fat and it's not muscle, you know, but like, it's all in the nutrition. And these little things, like, I have in the gym, I don't want to be like, oh, I want to run a marathon or this. They're just little things that I know that are achievable. I just say to anyone, have goals that are achievable. Don't be like, when you're starting off, I want to run a marathon. You know, have off, I want to run 1K, I want to run 5K. Just small goals, like, that are attainable, really. That's what keeps me going.
What would you say are the little, since you've started with this lifestyle change, what are the little things that you've noticed that you're able to enjoy now, or like the little things that you feel better in yourself?
I noticed little things like being able to cross my legs. That was a massive thing for me. Being able to have boots and shoes that I can bend down to tie up. Like, these are silly little things, obviously, but I can't wait to go on a plane to be able to have a seatbelt around me that won't have an extender. They're just like little things, like, I obviously see and people don't notice. You know, and like, before, like, I would have done my degree. I've been to college in the past. I did a marketing degree. Then I'm in the middle of my master's. Before, like, I would have wanted to go for a job, but I used to say, oh no, they won't employ me because of my weight. Do you know, I never had the confidence to kind of go for things like things like that, where I thought I might get rejected. I'd always go for things if I knew people weren't going to reject me. Like, that's why I'd always go for things to help out in the community, because no one's going to say no if you want to do something like that. But like, I would never have gone for anything where I thought someone is going to reject me here and I won't be able to handle that. But like, so putting myself out there and getting a new job, like, I would have never done things like that before. I never would have spoke about my weight before, I think, and I never would have spoke like I used to be so cranky. Like, I could eat you for dinner. Not you, Michael, right? Or you, Mark. But like, say people closest to me. Like, but like, my mom and dad just tell me, like, I'm like a different person now. my mood is just different. Like, I used to never be able to go for a walk with someone because I'd be afraid of them walking beside me and they'd be hearing me breathe because I'd breathe so heavy. Like, I'd bring anyone on a walk now. Do you know what I mean? They're the little things I think I notice the most probably. And then actually there's some things you don't notice and people tell you. I know you know all Malloy.
Oh yeah.
So Gory won the junior football last year, as you know, and we were in the complex afterwards. And he said to me, Aoife, you look great lately. And I said, thanks very much, Owen. And he said, there's such a difference in you. And I said, is there? And he goes, yeah, I noticed today. And I said, did you? And he said, yeah, when Gory won, he said, I could see Aoife Parle running across the pitch and hugging your brother. And I never seen you run before, Aoife. And that's what he told me, like.
Yeah.
And that's
So,
what
like,
we noticed.
Such a
yeah,
simple
and
thing. Yeah.
such a
Yeah.
simple thing. And for me, I took that and I was probably twice as motivated then
Yeah.
going home because I
Yeah.
was like, you know, people are starting to notice like those little things. And then you have things people say to you that make you demotivated that you have to kind of filter out.
Right.
Like, I was out on a walk one day, I was going past Aldi and I met a woman and she said to me, look, you've lost loads of weight, well done. And I've lost weight in the past, obviously, and put it up again. And I said, yeah. And she asked me how much I lost. And I think I was 5 stone at the time. And she said, oh, well, keep it up this time, won't you?
All right.
And I'm like, ugh, that's a compliment, but also an insult. She set me up to fail. And before I would have went home, like, I'm probably at a chocolate bar because I would have been, but now I just filter it out.
Right.
You just take in the information you want that
Yeah.
makes you motivated and filter the rest out. Yeah.
I'm sure I'm constantly amazed at the link between mental health and physical health. You know, like when you are more physically active, your mind will be at ease. Like that's something that's struck you,
Yeah.
I'm sure, Aoife, as
Yeah.
well, that you're feeling better in yourself.
Yeah. I think you had it on a podcast. You were talking about your dad said something about endorphins.
Oh yeah.
About do you feel it all the time and things like that. Like you, Michael, now I wouldn't feel it all the time. Sometimes I go out and I don't want to go for a walk or I don't want to go for a run. But some days, like, exercise can make you feel more alive than you've ever felt. Like, especially if you hit a goal, if you're like, I'm after going a minute faster. You know, they're endorphins you can't buy. You know, so good nugget from Podge Dwyer there now. Yeah.
Mark, as a trainer, what do you see? Like, I suppose since it's virtual, you haven't seen it yet, but I'm sure when you have in-person clients, you're going to see it probably a more realistic example of. But
I got one session in with your father before we had to do
lockdown,
he had the endorphins flowing. He told me the endorphins were going. But yeah, I love it. Sure, that's why you do it, isn't it? Like, I want to help people. I want to help people feel better. That's sort of why. I presume most people want to do anything is to help other people. That's why I want to be a personal trainer, because I've had these issues in the past as well, where I felt like shit, and I found methods and ways of feeling better, and I just want to share those with other people. And that's what I think this podcast is about. I think it's why Aoife does what she does. It's why we do what we do, is because we're trying to help other people, and that's basically how I feel good. 100%. So it's sort of selfish in a way as well. It helps me feel good to help other people.
We have to be involved in it to. We're moving a little bit away from diet, but we have to ourselves. Do we not have to be involved in anything for to have that interest in it?
I am confused now.
All right. we'll park that for another day. Sorry. But what else have I got here? You spoke about the gym, Aoife, and like how it's community and camaraderie, and obviously you're looking forward to getting there whenever the restrictions are eased a bit. What is it? Is it the little things about getting the extra reps in for an exercise, but it also must be the social aspect as well of doing it with a class?
Yeah, I think, like, I was obviously terrified starting the gym. Like, I first went out to Blue Zone. My brother Gerard and William were in a session at the same time, and I was absolutely terrified because I was like, oh God, even though they're my brothers and they're the most supportive people in the world and they're the reason I went out there, like, I was terrified of people looking at me, God, why can't you do this or why can't you do that? But lads, people don't care when they're in the gym. They're only worried about themselves.
Yeah.
So like, you know, like there's guys out in the gym there and you'd be trying something every week, like the box jump, and it wouldn't be working out. And then you do it, like they're there clapping and cheering you on.
Mhm.
You know, people want to see people do good.
Yeah.
You know, I think people, it's more so their own anxiety and they're paranoid in their head. Like, people are good. Like, they want to see you do well. And you'd be surprised at the people that would stop and tell you how well you're doing. Like, I love seeing people get ahead.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? People
Yeah.
do want to see you do well. So I just say to anyone that's thinking of going to the gym, don't have a fear, because everybody's at a different stage.
Yeah.
Do you know, there could be someone 10 stone lighter than me that mightn't be able to run the same amount of minutes I'm able to run. Like, weight has nothing to do with your ability.
Yeah.
You know, just get out there and start, because, you know, it just changed it. Well, it changed my life anyway. Like, you know, yeah, definitely start the gym.
Like, obviously we've spoken about education and nutrition, Aoife, but I think on a more personal level as well, you've probably had to, or well, have you found that your relationship with food has changed as a result? Like, as in, well, you mentioned before about the iceberg and that, you know, that instead of avoiding completely, you can now consume, and, you know, that satisfying that craving now will mean that you can, you know, stick with your diet as a whole then.
Yeah, my relationship with food is just on a different level, the way it used to be. Like, I used to go on a diet and I could eat, like, say 6,000 calories the weekend before I start the diet each day. And then I'd start a diet on a Monday and I could have, say, the equivalent to 1,000 calories. And I could go 1 calorie over. And I'm like, I fucked it up now. Might as well eat everything. And like, I still, if I went 1 calorie over, I still had 5,000 less the day before, but because it wasn't perfect and it wasn't on the plan, I just gave up. Like, whereas now, like, if I have a bad meal, I just start again at the next meal. You know, I started my journey on a Thursday. Do you know? Whereas I was always like, oh, Monday morning, everything has to start Monday morning. I start on a Thursday.
Mm.
Do you know, like, start now. Like, don't. I can't explain enough. Like, as I said before, like, there's no bad and good food. Do you know, everything in moderation. Like, do you know, like, have the, as I said, like, if I want a bar of chocolate, I'll have it. If not, I'll have a multi-pack the next day because I'm pissed off I didn't have the bar of chocolate the day before.
Yeah.
Do you know, so I think, like, definitely my relationship with food is so much different. I used to have fear or anxiety going on a diet, like, because I'd be afraid, oh my God, if I eat this, I'm gone for the week. But like, it doesn't work like that. Do you know? Yeah.
What advice, Aoife, would you give to someone, say, who is sort of has struggled in the past and like they can't get it right, like they keep falling off and keep making mistakes and they keep falling off the rails and starting again and fucking it up and taking 3 months off and end up heavier than they were and trying to lose it again? Like, what advice could you give to someone that is listening to this and like they could be stuck in that situation?
So obviously that was me for 30 something years. I was losing, gaining. Just keep trying. Consume content, like, listen to people on podcasts, read books, read articles, like, from accredited people. Like, don't just give up. And if you do give up, don't be so hard on yourself. Do you know, if you give up, like, that's fine, it's happened. Move on, start the next one. Every day I get up and try. Today, like, I got up this morning and everything is great so far. The rest of the day might go to crap, but I get up the next morning and I try. Just don't give up. That's all
Yeah.
I'm saying. Because I used to think, oh, why is it happening? What's wrong with me? It's not happening for me. But lads, I know it's probably cliche. If I can do it, anyone can do it. Do you know? So just don't give up.
Yeah.
Try everything. Like, I used to try, oh God, I've done every diet that you can think of. And like, my family used to be like, you know, getting on the bandwagon with me, supporting me, probably hoping that this time it will work. Do you know? So like, so anyone out there that has a family member that's struggling, you know, even if you don't agree with what they're doing, support them because they're trying. Do you know, like, maybe this is the time that it will work. Do you know? Because someone said once, I think it was Trisha that said, her sister had said, look, if you have a family member who's not well and they're trying to lose weight or whatever, you know, get on every bandwagon because someday you're going to be in their Rolls Royce.
Mm.
Do you know, like, which was really powerful to me. Do you know, like, someday something will stick, but just keep trying and you'll find what works for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, say age doesn't matter either. Like, it's not as if you have to be in your 20s or whatever to lose weight, or people like saw people when they're like 30 or 40 was like, oh well, that's it now, you know, my youth is over now, I'll just get fat and eat and drink and whatever, and sure, who cares now, I'm on the downward slope on the way out. Like, it's like, that's not the point. Like, it's enjoying every day you have until that time comes when you leave. Like,
100%. Because I think people think, do you know, sure, look, I might as well enjoy my life, I could be dead tomorrow. Like, but you might not be dead tomorrow. You might live another 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
You know, think to yourself, like, people say, oh, food makes me happy. Lads, I'm telling you, when you're overweight, food does not make you happy. It fills the void for 10, 20 minutes, and then you feel twice as bad after that. Like, so definitely age. Do I regret not doing this in my 20s? Yes. But maybe I wouldn't have been as successful as I am now if I did it in my 20s, because I think this is the time it just worked for me. Do you know, I think I've learned from past mistakes. Do you know, so an age is definitely not a reason not to make yourself healthy, because you want to live not just as old as you can, but, like, you know, actually have a good quality of life.
You
know, so yeah, definitely age is definitely not a number.
A random thing there, Mark. I've been going to you for the last few weeks, and I wanted to, you know, the way we you know, say when you give a stretch, Mark, and you say breathe into your glute.
Yeah.
How like what
it's more just trying to get the mind muscle connection to it. Like, so you're breathing, you're just trying to connect to that glute while you're inhaling into it. I don't actually mean, like, you know, breathe through your arse, like. But like, yeah, what
no, I'm always, my mind is just, it doesn't stop, and it's probably overactive, and no, it was just that came to mind when I was thinking of, like, do you notice things, do you feel better in your body, Aoife, as well, like in everything that you do, or like?
Yeah, and I think that's why it's important to go to people like Mark and Cormac or Connor or whoever you go to, because they know what they're talking about. And you might you might be doing a stretch if you're following along to something on YouTube, but you've no idea what it's for. Do you know, when they're explaining it to you, you're like, oh, well, yeah, my back actually is a little bit better today, or I can stretch a bit more, and my knees weren't as sore on my run after you told me to do this. Because when you're looking on YouTube, like, you don't really do half of them, because you're like, oh, what's that about? But when someone is explaining to you what it's for, and you start to notice the difference, then, like, you just soak it all in. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So keep breathing through your arse, Michael. I shouldn't be saying that. My mother will listen to this, she'll kill me.
Like, hiring a professional is important. Like, I have a coach, I have a movement coach, because I wanted to get better at my movement and at my mobility, because it's been really poor in the past. So I worked with Cormac for 12 weeks, I think, and that's sort of where mobility started for me, and because he was able to teach me, you know, what movements are correct and why they should be working. Now, Cormac is like, I have to give him a plug here, like, he's a gentleman and a professional. Like, he is really good. If you're listening, check out Blue Zone Fitness. But so I hired a coach. That was actually embarrassingly my first coach I ever hired, and I was 24. And
Wow.
24. And now I've hired Cormac. I have a different one now, and it's brought me up so many different more levels. Hiring a coach, hiring a professional, because I wanted to get better at something.
You described that as embarrassingly.
Yeah, because I never had a coach. Like, I am a coach, yet I wouldn't hire a coach because I thought I knew everything. But I don't know everything. Like, I need to be guided as well. Everyone needs guidance.
Wow, that's very humbling. Yeah, no, it's just because when I would have been of the view that, oh, sure, a coach doesn't need a coach.
Yeah, so was I.
Me too.
But like, well, I suppose it just highlights
for specific things. Like, I didn't know anything about mobility, so I hired a mobility coach. Like,
so you were putting in the reps and doing what you can, whatever it was.
Yeah, I was breaking my body down. Yeah. But so it is. If you don't know something, drop your ego and hire someone who knows what you're talking about.
I think that's a great attitude. Because you should always be learning. Because, like, Cormac might learn from someone else, you might learn from someone else, and you're imparting all that knowledge onto your clients.
Yeah, that's it.
So I think, 100%. I agree. And it's good to look after yourself. And when you're taking time and you're getting trained by someone else, you're looking after yourself as well. And you can't keep giving from an empty cup. You need to look after yourself before you look after anyone else,
100%.
you know.
Yeah.
That's why I look after myself, so I can look after Ian, you know.
Aoife, sorry, the head is gone. It will come back to me. Mark, do you have another question?
No, I will just wait till it comes back.
Oh no. Oh yeah, that was it. Can you say where your new job is?
Oh yeah. I have a job now in CRIF. It's in Dunleary. So they're like a business knowledge group. They work for the central bank. I'll be working on a team that looks after, you know, like if you're going for a mortgage or whatever. I don't want to bore you now. This is a light, fun podcast, and I'm boring you.
But how is it related to? Is it in marketing or is it in what?
Yeah, like it's finance. Like my business or my background would be in business. Now I'm doing a master's in journalism and communications now. Communications is what I want to eventually get into. But like this is a great company, so I'm hoping, you know, I can work my way up. Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah. It's great to hear. I love when someone puts in the reps, whether it's in all aspects of their life, and they gain more confidence that they, you know, can climb rungs of the ladder in their own personal journey towards attainment of something greater, and that's brilliant. It's been great chatting to you. I've learned a lot about what's driving you on, and as Mark said earlier, you're a great role model for everyone. It's at always Aoife on Instagram.
Yeah.
And that's, can I just say as well, well done to you, because I have to say the podcast is just I know we've had serious talks there now, but it's just so lighthearted and fun. Like I have to give a plug to Flood as well.
Well,
I'm on my walk. I do be on my walk, and I'd say people are looking at me because I howl laughing at them. You know, like I know, like I know he's soft inside, really. You know. But like you're doing a great job, and you're keeping everyone entertained and motivated, and I just keep up the great work, because I'm loving listening to the podcast.
Thanks.
Thank you.
And I've been a follower of yours, Michael, since you used to do it on Snapchat in school.
Yeah.
I used to think this lad is mad. Yeah, but really keep up the great work.
James will be delighted with that now, and he's giving you a good one. So here we go, Flash Flood.
Okay.
Had to get it off my chest. Lads working, diggers and wood chippers at 7 o'clock in the f***ing morning. There's no need. Leave it off. Have a Kit Kat. There's no need for loud machines banging and clattering and stuttering and jamming and just making noise when I'm trying to sleep. I don't agree with it. I've no problem with them things starting at 8 o'clock in the morning, but not at 7. 7 o'clock is that kind of nice stage where you're slowly waking up and you're slowly coming to life. Doesn't need to be interrupted by a big off wood chipper at that hour in the morning. There should be a law banning works, noisy works, until 8 o'clock in the morning. And if I run for the Dáil, I'll do it. I'll be like your man that ran for the president in UCD, or the student union president, Fitzer is his name, and he wanted to remove the 20-cent charge on ketchup and vinegar. There's not enough Fitzers in the world. We need more Fitzers.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Oh, he's gas.
Good shady, man.
Oh, stop, lads.
Yeah.
I feel like if I'm having a bad day now, and I want to eat something bad, I'll ring Flood.
Yeah.
He can start eating me on the phone, you know. Yeah.
And finally then, Aoife, I crossed the line. Liam Dunn's story here. Would you want to pick a page number between 1 and 288?
4, my favourite number.
4. Yeah. Mark, do you want to do it?
Sure, I'll read it. Yeah. Okay, Aoife. This is a good one.
Oh.
To all the people of Wexford, all I ever wanted to do was my best for you. Thanks for all the support over the years.
Oh.
There you go now.
Sweet.
That sounds like
he was talking about used to.
Yeah. It sounds like the book is over already. It's a page.
Yeah, I'd say you've opened him up there, Aoife, and that's a very emotional quote to end this fine podcast with. Aoife, thanks so much, and
Thank you.
keep doing what you're doing because you're
Thanks,
on
guys.
a journey to greatness.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for having me.
Thanks, Aoife.
Cheers,
Beautiful.
Aoife.
Well done.
Bye.